28.
27.
26.
25.
24.
23.
22. 21.
20. 19.
18.
17.
16.
15.
14.
13. 12.
11.
10. 8.
6.
6. What happened to 7?
7.
5. 4.
3.
2. 1.
0.
Hi guys. I don't know how's the audio sound. I'm using the wireless mic because I don't want to put the headphones on. So this is not going to be very long. Cole's probably going to stop by. I have a guest. We have a guest host. There we go. We'll sit like this. We'll sit like this. Yeah, that way everybody can see you. So yeah, guys, this isn't gonna be long. I am really, really sick. I'm on 3 different kinds of antibiotics and 2 different types of anti-inflammatories and morphine for pain. So I don't know if you can tell, my stomach is completely swollen and I have not eaten anything since Saturday night. No solid food anyway. I don't know if you want to call a little bit of rice and some chicken broth cooked to the point where the rice was like falling apart. So it's not great. And the fact is, I called today to call the emergency room and ask him. I was like, look, I'm having a lot more abdominal pain. Yeah, it's all swollen. My whole gut's swollen and it's tender. I was like, I'm having a lot more abdominal pain. Should I come in? Luckily, the doctor that saw me Saturday night was there. And he said, have you ever heard the phrase, sometimes the treatment can be worse than the actual malady? And I was like, no. And yeah, I went to a military hospital. You know why? Because it's free. And so the military hospital here is a teaching hospital. So you actually get I've had multiple surgeries there. My wife has had surgery there. My daughter's been seen there a bunch of times. My daughter was born there. I've never had anything but stellar treatment there. So at any rate, the doc with it was the senior doc that was in charge of my case when I was there Saturday, was also there when I called today. He was just coming on shift and he was like, look, he's like, you're on ciprofloxacin, you're on Cipro and 2 other really strong antibiotics, strong anti-inflammatory and things like that. He's like, they are going to make your stomach hurt as bad, if not at least as bad as what you have going on. So I didn't go. And he said, like, don't come in unless you're running a fever. He's like, I understand we told you, like, if the pain increases, come back. He's like, but so at any rate, I'm not in the best of condition, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I only have 1 more video this week, and I don't know if it's gonna go up tomorrow because I haven't finished editing it. So not 100% sure what's gonna happen, but don't be expecting a lot of content in the next few days. There's a good chance there just won't be anything coming up. So I did want to talk about something. I haven't edited the video yet, or finished editing the video yet. Tino brought me the Sharp by Design Mini Temps. Hey, there he is.
Hey. Oh, hey, there's our cancer patient. How you doing?
Hey.
How's cancer?
I honestly didn't have my hat on, and I was like, it would look weird. Because no joke, I'm on 3 different antibiotics, and the side effects of them
You're
are
loaded up.
Oh, they're horrible. The side
You're
effects
loaded up, man.
horrible. And oh, look who's here.
What is that? Your pecker? What are we looking at? Oh, okay.
Hey, sit up. Sit up and say hi.
He's got the big D as well. The big diverticulitis as well.
Oh, it's bad. I haven't.
Yeah.
I've heard stories about it, but I had never thought it was that bad. And this is another one of those cases. This is another one of those cases where The doctor specifically said this. He's like, I looked at your CT scan, and he's like, I'm surprised you're sitting up and fucking around on your phone. He's
Yeah,
like, I
you're
saw your
alive,
CT
you
scan.
okay?
He's like,
and you're like, look, doc, I got a social media empire to run here. Okay?
no, I was sitting there and I was on the phone. I was texting my wife and I was texting my sister and my mom. And he was like, people that have as severe a case of diverticulitis as you do usually are like doubled over and on the verge of tears.
In a corner somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I was sitting there, and the other thing that medicine does is I've got like it's almost like it burned my throat. And I have Cipro is famous for giving you like mouth and throat sore, like ulcers.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I think that's what's starting to happen. But at any rate, he's like, I don't know why you're sitting there. And I was telling him if I got a really high pain tolerance, and I told him I was like, when I was in the military before I met my wife, I broke my tibia or one of the two smaller bones in the lower leg. And I walked on it for 2 days because I thought I just pulled a calf muscle.
Yeah.
Until I was like, man, it really hurts and it's swelling up. And I went in and he goes, how long has it been hurting? I was like, 2 days. He goes, it's because you broke your fucking leg.
Let me tell you, doc, it really hurts. I don't, I just don't know what's going on.
It hurts when I laugh.
Oh, well, funny story. It's fucking broken, guy. How about that?
Did you get a mini Tempest?
I did not.
Did anybody get a mini Tempest and happen to notice what came packaged with them?
That's very nice. You gotta love Brian Nadeau. Class act. Love that guy.
He asked me if I had business cards. We were talking about it when my PayPal got frozen, and he was really, really angry about everything in that situation. And I was telling somebody, I was like, I'm mad for a lot of reasons. And they're like, what about Brian Nadeau? I was like, he's from New Jersey. I mean,
he's mad at everything.
He's from New Jersey. Like, you have to be. Apparently they're saying you need to turn your mic up.
I do.
Yeah.
Okay. I turned it down because I didn't want to drown you out.
Yeah. Well, I got the wireless mic.
Is that better, everybody? Is everybody happy with that? Is everybody content? But I got my fair share of Nadeau knives, with the mini and the full size Evo.
Well, I'm digging the blue fat carbon fiber.
I love the inlays. I love the inlay he does. Then the way he does it, it looks like it belongs, if that makes sense. A lot of inlays feel like an afterthought, you know what I mean?
Murky says, no, it needs to be up more, but it sounds fine to me.
Yeah, and I've had this issue where they think it's really quiet, but then I go to watch the replay, and my audio drowns out the other person's audio, and I've been trying to avoid that.
Well, everybody's saying more.
More? How about now? I'm just kidding. I didn't change anything, but how about now? Joke's on you, suckers.
It hurts to laugh. I had to.
How about now? I mean, that's as loud as it's ever been. I'm not taking it up that fucking far. Jesus.
Maybe.
Are we good? Are we happy?
I don't know. Is there settings for me? Can I change your audio?
No. I think this should be good. Spitfire says, mute yourself, kill yourself. Got it. Okay. All right. Are we good?
Hurts when I laugh. So, no, I spiked a pretty fucking high fever. I thought I had appendicitis.
Well, you had needles and tubes and all kinds of shit when you were texting me, so I didn't question the validity of the issue.
Well, I sent that to my friend. I sent that to my best friend. He's a skinny little dude. And I sent him the picture. He goes,
oh, you mean me? I'm just kidding.
No, my best friend Clint. And so my buddy Clint, he's in Missouri now. He was like, oh, what'd they do? Give you a femoral line? And I was like, that's my arm, dude. And he goes, you're old. Why are your arms still so big? What the fuck, dude? He's like, that looks
Sorry,
like
bro.
He's like, that looks like it looks like a calf.
Sorry, bro. I'm fucking jacked. I don't know what to tell you.
He thought it was my calf. It was my forearm. And I was like, no, bro. And he's like, Jesus Christ, that's a big fucking line. They gave me a contrast CT and some fluids. And that was a big needle that they put in my arm. I was like, good God, that's a big...
Yeah, you were sending me stuff. It got to a point where I was like, I'm getting the willies, and I've been drinking a little bit, and I'm going to look away now. I'm going to look away now, all right?
Yeah, it was... Oh, what I was going to say about this is almost like a bolster lock because the overlay, the inlay covers it so much that, like, I don't get on that. This is one of the few top flippers that I can get behind.
Really? I know you're not a big front flipper guy. I was curious to hear your thoughts.
Like I said, because I'm on that inlay, so I'm not like squeezing on the lock bar.
Interesting. I'm looking around my desk. The only front flipper I have in front of me is the Nimble XL, which I know you'd be a big fan of.
I've got several now that are like in my collection, kind of semi-permanently.
I have so many front flippers. It's a joke.
So,
way too many, honestly.
But yeah, I kind of wanted you here to keep me on track so I didn't drift, because I did take my morphine, if you can't tell.
Get this boy loaded. Yeah, he's high. Either he's high or he's drunk or he's zooted on morphine. You know, you just never know with Mike. You know, you never know.
I can't drink. One of my medications, my sister was telling me, she's like, what antibiotics they got you on? And they have me on one, and she's like, okay, don't drink with that. And I was like, oh, what's it do? Like, what's the side effect? Do I get drunk?
Well, you don't want to know.
I'm like, is it something where I can just have a beverage and then only need one because now I'm wrecked? And then I was like, well, I shouldn't drink and take narcotics. Shouldn't and have in the past are two different things. But no, she was like, no, they used to use it as a counter agent for alcoholics. They would feed them this, and like it does something to your gut. And the second you drink, you get violently
immediately. Wow.
You get violently ill and throw up, and you can't keep alcohol down. I was like,
okay.
Oh, okay, good to know.
Down for that. Let's fucking party, dude. Let's go. Let's do it.
All I'm picturing is that scene from Family Guy when they all take the Epicac.
They're all barfing on each other.
last one to throw up wins, and it's just like everywhere.
They're just projectiling across the living room. Love it.
So yeah, I don't think I'm going to, like, my daughter even was like, you shouldn't. Like, she's like, you shouldn't go live tonight.
Not with me. I'm trying really hard not to make you laugh, but it's hard. It's hard.
No, I mean, I shouldn't. She's
hard.
like, you shouldn't. She's like, you just shouldn't go live tonight. You should just go to bed. Because like, I'm not allowed to have anything. I'm allowed to have bananas.
Oh.
I'm allowed to have
nice
pudding.
To give you that.
I'm allowed to have pudding. I'm allowed to have rice pudding. Or I'm also allowed to take rice and cook it beyond anything recognizable that I've had.
Just mush.
Just anything past what my wife has ever made in the 20 years we've been married, since I've actually been eating.
Basically.
Basically that's what it is. So I had some rice like way overcooked in chicken stock.
And I bet your wife was just like, her skin was crawling the whole time. She's like, this is a sin against my people. I will never do this again.
Actually, they make something really similar called zosui, which is it's done in like a dashi type soup with flying fish broth, the powdered flying fish broth, and they take it and they cook the rice in that with some egg and some green onion, and then you season it with the citrus soy sauce, the citrus flavored the ponzu.
Yeah.
And that's like the Japanese equivalent to chicken noodle soup, but I'm not allowed to have the eggs. So
wah. R.I.P.
I have Havoc. I've got a bad case of diverticulitis. It's really severe. I have a really severe infection in my lower intestines. I swear to God, I thought I had appendicitis. It hurt on the lower left and middle.
That's what I've heard. Everybody goes in thinking they're going to have their appendix removed. They're like, wrong. We're taking a lot more, Chief.
Well, and like I said, the doctor said, he's like, well, this would be a lot easier to manage if you didn't have such a high pain tolerance, because you would have come in sooner. And I'm like,
yeah,
great.
Thanks.
So
thanks, Doc.
I will tell you, I may sleep out here in the garage because I swear to God, when I fart, it smells like a dead animal with a little bit of fish.
That's how my farts always smell. So I don't know why my wife stays with me, honestly.
No, I mean, like,
no,
you're talking about a guy that prides himself on his farts. I farted out here in the garage, and I hated myself a little bit.
This fart is a sin against the Lord Jesus.
Fuck. So yeah, I'm not gonna do this for very long. I really can feel that. I can really feel that morphine kicking in, and morphine and opiates.
It's a fun time.
No, not for me.
I know.
I don't like the out of control feeling, and I get really edgy, and I don't like it.
Really?
So yeah,
So I
so
get real sleepy and I start seeing things, and I'm like, I'm gonna go to bed now.
I
That's
do
my
get,
morphine trip.
well, once it fully kicks in, and you're like, oh, I gotta go to sleep. But up until that moment, everything horrible goes on in my head, and I hate it. I'm on. So I'm gonna counteract that. I went and got absolutely was not supposed to drive, but I went and got a cartridge for my Stizzy pen.
Had to do it. If there's one cure to die, you know what? That's what it is. They're like, why didn't you feel this sooner? You're like, well, listen, doc, I do smoke a little bit of weed, okay?
He actually he was fully on board with it. He's like, just don't give in to the munchies.
mean-
I was like, I'm immune.
Yeah, no, seriously, stuff like this, like when I have severe stomach issues, like if I have really bad stomach problems or food poisoning, one toke, one edible, I'm good. I am fine, dude. Within an hour, I'm great.
Have you ever taken an edible and forgot that you took said edible and then got into the actual flower by accident and been like, and
Well,
that's when it's like the second you take that drag, that last puff or last pull on that fucking glass saxophone,
the
that's
edible
when you
comes
feel
in full force.
You're
full
like,
force.
oh
Yeah.
shit!
You're
There,
like,
I
remember. I remember now. Yeah. Yep.
This is gonna be the first 2 hours of this is gonna be
Stupid.
real uncomfortable.
Yeah, so what I usually do is I'll take an edible and I'll forget for a while, and then I'll start smoking, and then I'll forget for a while, and then I'll start drinking, and then it'll all come to me at once, and I'm like, I am a fool. I'm a fool. Help me, Jesus.
Gunter is here, and he's sleeping in the garage when you don't have to is for sick Fritz like me. Don't go down that path. I pretty much live out here in my garage.
Well, I mean, if I have a live stream, I sleep in my office because Kara goes to sleep. She'll fall asleep by the time I'm done, right? And I just don't want to wake her up. I have a bed behind that colsa back there,
I've got a cot that's really. I have a
You're
really
a military
comfortable-
man. That's home sweet home to you, buddy.
Bro, some of the best nights of sleep I've ever had in my life have been on a cot. They are comfortable, especially it's 67 degrees in the garage tonight.
Ooh,
Perfect.
Wow.
Don't-
If I went into my garage, which I don't have, so the yard, if I went out into my yard, it'd be about 12 this evening. So
It's 63 degrees outside.
A little chilly back home, my friend. It's a little chilly.
It was a little warm. I went upstairs to go grab. I haven't had my hat on all day because the meds give me a headache and it makes my skin hurt. And I'm like, this.
Dude, I always get really bad like hangovers after morphine. I get like miserable like hangover headaches the next morning. Because for whatever reason, I only severely injure myself late at night, right? So I'll go to sleep at 3 a.m., wake up at 9 or 10 with the worst headache, stomach pain, everything, like all of the key hangover side effects. That's what morphine does to me. The next morning.
I only take one. I'm only taking one a day, and I take it early enough that by the time I wake up the next morning, like
did they send you home with pills?
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude! It's been a long time. I've gotten morphine in the ER or in the hospital before for being injured, right? They're like, you're going to need this, trust us. 3rd-degree burns all the way up my arm and my shoulder and my head. That was the last time I had morphine, a couple years ago, 2 years ago. But they sent me home with like, okay, here's like a 5-day supply of oxys, like little baby oxys. Take them as you need them. Don't OD basically. And they're like, here you go. But they did not send me home with morphine. So that's how you know it's bad. That's how you know it's bad, dude.
Well, and I told the doc, I was like, and I'm glad I have them because today it's way worse because like I said, on top of the inflammation and all the stuff, I've got now the medicine that's causing issues with my stomach.
All the shit that comes along with that. Yeah. Yep.
And so now I'm like, it really hurts. And I was like, I'm glad they gave him to me, but when the doc gave him to me, you got to love military doctors. Like he gave me the morphine and I was like, doc, he's like, just take them. Make sure you take, like, they didn't even make me go to the pharmacy. Like they went and sent someone to get my
They literally hand them to you. Yep.
Yep. And so I was checking out. He was like, here you go. He's like, I gave you morphine. He's like, I don't want you to suffer. So don't, like, being tough is cool, but I was like, I'm like, Doc, that's not me being tough. It just doesn't hurt that bad. And he goes,
It
then,
will.
then just enjoy. He's like, they're
Yeah.
yours.
Yeah, the government. You're paid up. You paid your dues, pal. Right?
Yeah, some people
You've
are like,
earned
oh,
this. Here,
I've got
you've earned this.
I got people that are reaching out to me and they're like, oh man, I'll send you some knives for sharpening. I know that doctor's bills are. I didn't even have a copay. I just had to lay on a bed till they brought me my meds, and they're like, well, I
Your
would like.
copay was the waiting room.
So the doc was like, I want you to take one before you leave, and I'm like, he's like, I want you to take, like, I'm going to watch you take one. I'm like, okay. And I took it and I handed my papers and I looked at him. I was like, now I got to race that home. He goes, wait, you drove yourself here? I was like,
My hands
yeah,
are tied.
but I'm going home now. He goes,
Hands are tied, Doc.
he's like, you can't do anything. You already discharged me. I'm on my way out the door. And I got in the car and I drove home. By the time I got home, I was like, that last fucking mile or two probably wasn't safe.
Yeah. That's things were blurring together, Halo vision started kicking in. It was a weird ride. It was a weird ride.
It wasn't that bad, but I mean, today I had to take my daughter ice skating. I hate, like, driving really sucks. It's bumps. Anything that jars.
Well, I mean, here's how I imagine it is like the worst case of shit your pants diarrhea that you've ever had, right? And all the pain that goes along with that, but there's nothing you can do about it. Even after you shit, it doesn't go away. You know what I mean? That's how I
Have you ever
equate
been
it.
punched in the liver? Have you ever had somebody punch you in the liver?
I can't say that I have,
Go find a friend that does MMA and have them punch you in the liver. That's kind of what this feels
My
like.
wife's got a hell of a left hook. I don't know.
Just have her aim for your liver. It's what it feels like. My
Okay.
entire lower abdomen just. It's like I got punched in the gut real fucking hard.
Well, yeah, what I'm imagining is like the worst, like, diarrhea, shit your pants pain, holding it in for, like, you know what I mean? Like 10 hours, that agony, you're sweating and the misery. That's what I'm imagining.
That's here. This is.
Pass. Whatever you got, pass. I'll take a pass.
But see, I'm sick of this. Like, if I had known that I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of my fucking body. Not gonna fucking lie.
I think all of the knife community would echo that sentiment. It'd be pretty resounding. Yeah, same.
So it hurts to cough. It hurts to take a deep breath down in my. I'm like, oh, why does that hurt?
Yeah, dude. It's stuff like this that makes you realize, like, how much everything in your body interacts with each other. Like, breathing pushes on the gut. Your gut pushes up on your lungs. Your stomach, when it swells, it pushes on everything. Like, you don't notice that. It's just kind of happening without you knowing until something like this happens, and you're like, holy shit, everything's touching, and I don't want this to happen.
Well, and like I said, I had 3 different doctors. So I had, because it's a teaching hospital. So you had the senior doctor, you had a guy that had been there for a while, and then you had a guy that had only been there a couple months.
Yeah,
and
the
so
new
they're
kid,
all in a room,
right.
and one doc was like, the youngest one was like, we should just do the surgery. And you see the senior doc was like, wait a second, why would we take out his bowel if there's other? You could see it on his face. And then the other doc was like, I don't think we should do that, but I think we should admit him, that way he can have a morphine drip, like the
button,
the button,
a panic button. And
then the older doc, the older guy that probably was maybe 5 years younger than me, was like, okay, let me ask you a question. Why would you do that and take out the bowel when we haven't tried any other options? And he's like, why would I admit him with a morphine drip when obviously he's tolerating the pain moderately well?
Yeah, relatively well.
He's like, if we admit this guy, we run the risk of staph infections, cross contamination, other infections that you would get in a hospital, and a possibility of catching the coof. So they sent me home. I got home late Saturday night. But yeah,
It's been going on that long? It's Monday.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't know.
Well, so Friday.
You didn't know either, I guess.
So like late Thursday night, early Friday morning, like I started having some abdominal pain, and it really didn't bother me. And I had a little bit of a fever Friday night, but then for Saturday, that's when I spiked the really high fever, and I was having all the pain, and that's why I thought I had appendicitis. And I'm like, I gotta go. And I was like, I'm gonna drive myself. The wife had shit to do, So I drove myself to the emergency room thinking I was going to have my appendix taken out. And they're like, well, there's a chance you might get like a couple feet of your bowel, maybe a little bit more
Couple
taken
feet.
out.
Appendix, maybe this many. Maybe this many. We don't know.
Yeah. So
yeah, when the doctor goes, maybe this much, yeah, that's how you know you got a problem.
So, but it's like, I'm just like, my big thing is I don't, you know, I don't
Shane, your
want to.
stripper friend. Can we pause for a second? Shane's stripper friend might have the coof. Well, so what happens when you're?
No, I'm absolutely not faking this. This is not something I would. This is not something I would fucking fake for content.
I wish I will gladly share the images from the hospital.
I put it on. I put it on Instagram, and it's in the community tab.
No, you don't. No. I know Mike, and he's not that well organized to plan something like this. To be like, I better save those hospital pics for a rainy day.
I was wearing this in the pics. Like, if you look, you can see this jacket.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
With the pants.
Yeah, no, not much has changed the past 2 days in Mike's house, including his clothes.
Here's the thing. Like, everybody's like, oh, you need more fiber. You need this. Sometimes it's just genetic. Like, that my grandmother had it, and then she wound up like she had a colostomy bag for like a couple years. Oh, hey, Aiden, there you go. But that's my big fear. Oh, he left. He can't hear me. I'll wait till he gets back. But no, everybody's like, oh, you need new fiber. You need this. I eat a fairly Asian diet, lots of fiber, lots of raw vegetables, lots of grains, and plus I also take a probiotic with psyllium husk in it. So it's not a lack of fiber. You know what, Shane? You know why dating a stripper is like eating a loud bag of chips in church? Everyone's going to look at you disapprovingly, but you know deep down inside they want some of those chips. I've got a severe case of diverticulitis with a lot of infection in my lower intestines. So yeah, can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. I forget what I was going to say.
You were just explaining your prognosis.
No, I was going to tell you something, and now I can't remember what it was.
Oh, please do. How's the Tempest? I want to touch it.
I'll send it along with my penis. That way someone else other than me can touch it.
Ooh. It's married life, buddy. That's married life.
At this point, I'm 47. My wife is 45 because, yes, I did marry a younger woman.
I married an older one.
Of course we do. You reach a point in your life where you look at each other, you lay down, and you're like,
nah.
You know what? We got a couple options here. Either we could have sex, or we could just go to sleep and maybe have a dream about sex.
Yeah. When we were young.
Yes, and here's the other thing. I'm not allowed to eat any solid food till after my next contrast. You know what? This is one of the ones. This is one of the things.
Quillen, good point.
No, that's one of the things he said absolutely is a myth.
Yeah, I mean, it's no different at the end of the day.
So at
if
any
it's
rate,
solid, it's solid. If it's not, it's not. That's all that matters.
No, it's the hot. It was it's talking about spicy food. The spicy food. Spicy food is a myth. It does not have anything to do with your lower intestines because
people say it causes ulcers and stuff, and it literally doesn't matter.
But at any rate, so I'm not allowed to eat any solid food until I have my second contrast CT on Wednesday, and I have to keep getting one every week until I'm not at all constipated. Guys, it's a big difference. It's not like I'm like, oh, I can't poop. It's not like I have an obstruction in my bowels. I just have an infection in my bowels. So what it is the way the doctor explained it, you've got all these little diverticula or diverticulu, I don't know how you pronounce it. But at any rate, there's all these little ripples in your bowel. And sometimes when you get this inflammation, they swell themselves shut and they trap shit in them and all that bacteria, and it causes an infection. But at any rate, this thing is great. The Tempest is great. You can actually, what do you got there?
Oh, I'm sorry.
You can actually
It's
finger flick. You can finger flick the Tempest.
Oh, you can with the grooves. With
Yeah,
the filler?
it's a little small for my hands to do it with, but I imagine that you've got smaller hands than me. You could probably get into it easier. Because like I'm really,
I can reverse flick this, and there's nothing on here to reverse flick.
Tri-State. What do you think? What do you think about the anus as a whole?
And yeah, I saw that.
I have
let me tell you.
I have some
Generally
of the worst
speaking,
human beings that
you know,
join me on
I just, it's one of those things. It's there. As far as a sexual implement, yeah, pass personally. I just don't see the draw, if you will. What I do, I get it. It's the poo shoot, it's the turd cutter. You know what I mean? The log splitter. You know what I mean? But it's not a toy. It's not a playground.
You want to hear a story?
That's where I'm at with it.
You want to hear a story? I haven't told this story in a long time. I don't think I've ever told it on a YouTube live feed. Years before I met my wife, I dated a girl, American chick. Like worked on the base. I dated her, and she was into a little bit of the backdoor action, and I was like,
"Ooh,
cool.
Mamacita."
And I always knew, stuff would be ready. I knew it was that special evening every once in a while. It wasn't like an every night thing or even every week thing. But I was like, it's pretty, yeah. And I'm really feeling like I need to end this before too long. So we might do like an hour, if that. That's why I'm telling story time now. So at any rate, so I dated this chick for a while, and then we broke up. We were on amicable terms. She was transferring back to the States. I wasn't. I was staying in Japan. But we stayed in touch, and I started dating another girl who worked with.
Dog.
Well, I mean, it happens. I mean, we broke up. She was no longer in Japan.
Oh, no, I get it.
She was at some weird Diego Garcia or some other base out in the middle of nowhere. And so I had her email address and shit. And I was dating this other girl, and she knew the girl that I'd been dating before, and she had heard stories. And she's like, well, this other girl did it. Was that something that I was like, yeah, let's try it. And I had no idea that there was some prep involved. And so, she came over that one night, and we're in the bed, and we're starting to do it. She was like, it was kind of uncomfortable. And I was like, okay. And so, can never have too much lube. And all of a sudden I realized, I'm like, why do I smell poo? And I look down, and there's just like shit all over me, all over the bed, all over her.
Oh dear.
And I was
dear,
like,
you.
And I was like, I was like, oh shit. And I was trying to be cool about it.
Literally,
like, no.
Oh shit. Literally, oh
right?
shit.
And I'm like, and she's like flipping out, and she's crying, and she's embarrassed. And I was like, no, really, it's not that big a deal. And I took a shower, and she took a shower, and I grabbed all the sheets and stuff. And in my head, even though I was trying to be cool about it, because I really did like this girl a lot, and I was trying to be really cool about it, it wasn't her fault. I didn't know that this could happen. In my head, though, I'm like, I've got to burn down the house.
I got to burn it.
I got to burn it. I can't ever clean. I can't clean this bed
enough. The bed frame.
I did wind up buying a new mattress. But at any rate, so
that's a lot of shit.
She took a shower.
Are we talking like a week's worth of shit, or like a few days worth of shit?
Like
a lot of shit.
We're talking like I had like jammed it and pumped it and pounded it into liquid. So it was everywhere.
It was already soup, and you just broke the dam. You know what I mean?
It didn't take a lot for it to be really bad. So at any rate,
any amount of shit is too much shit. I'll be honest.
So I'm like cleaning all this up. She gets in the shower. I clean everything up. I get the sheets and the laundry. I'm like trying to figure out what I'm gonna do with the mattress. And I'm like, she got out of the shower. I was like, cool. I'm gonna wash off because like I really need to. I
need to hose myself.
I've got to get all of this area from just above my belly button to my knees taken care of here. And I got out of the shower, and she had grabbed her bag and left a note, and she would not return my phone calls. So I got a hold of my ex-girlfriend, and I emailed her, and she was like, you need to call me. And I was like, so I had her number. We were pretty much in the same time zone. I called her. And she was like, "What, Mike? Did she prep? Like, you can't eat anything the day before." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, you can't eat anything the day before." She's like, "You get one of those fleet enemas, get yourself all cleaned out." She's like, "You got a pre-lube." She's like, "Did she do any of those things?" I was like, "I didn't know you did those things." She's like, "Oh, Mike." And I was like, she's like, "I'm going to get in touch with her because I still, they were still like in touch because they worked together." And I was like, I don't know if she's going to take your phone call because I think she's already embarrassed about it. I was like, how about you just leave it the fuck be?
Yikes. Yikes, dude.
Yikes.
Yikes. God, yikes, Mike. Yikes.
I've told the story with a lot more energy and stuff, but like I don't want to get like all excited because then it's gonna hurt.
Any amount of energy is too much. It's just too much for a story like this. It makes me ill. I forget the comedian, but I want to say, oh, god damn it, I can't remember his name. I forget his name, but he's like, you guys ever the bits like, you guys ever pull your finger out of a girl's asshole? You just got blood and shit all over your fingers. That's his whole bit. That's the whole bit. And then he moves on to the next joke. It's great.
Mike, you still have her number. Shane is a fucking horrible human.
Shane, what's going on with your stripper girl? She got the poof?
So bad. It hurts so bad.
Mike, Shane's interested, Mike. Just give him his number. Just give her a number, then.
Man, this was okay. I've been married for 20 years, and this is probably 3 years before that. So, I mean, I don't know.
I got a question for you. With you and your wife, did you date, break up, and then get back together?
Okay, so I was famous for dating chicks, and then when a relationship would get too good, and I knew that things were going to the next level, I would throw a grenade in it. Usually, it would be another girl.
Right.
Done in a fashion
that helps. That usually gets the job done, right?
It usually gets the job done. Like when she shows up and there's a girl leaving your house as she's arriving. That usually
that'll take care of business, right?
I was really good at, and my friends were always like, "How do you always date such attractive women?" Even, I mean, my wife, we've been married for 20 years. She's still hot. Like, you guys haven't really got to see pictures of her, but she was a dime piece when we were younger. She still turns heads, and I'm like, my buddies are all like, "How the fuck do you always date such attractive chicks?" I'm like, I don't know, guys. I'm just good in the fucking stack. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, we dated, and then things got too intense, and I took a break, and which meant, for Mike, that meant I was gonna start having sex with at least 2 other women. Pretty much shacking up with one of the 2 at her place for a month or 2. But the whole thing was that while I was doing that, every time I was with one of those other chicks, I was like, you know what? I wonder what Yuka's doing. I wonder what she's doing. And I was like,
well, the reason I ask is same, right? Me and my wife were together for 3 years. Things got really serious, and I was like, reel it in. You know what I mean? And then we got back together a few years later and ended up getting married. And I know a lot of friends my age that's the same story. Was like, they dated a girl, they got sick of them, they left them, then nonsense happened, and then they got back together with the original girl and got married, right? I was just curious if that was true for your particular story. And it turns out it is.
No, what is all this? What is all this that's going? What is this? Are you garbage podcast? Is this the place for this?
I don't know, B.D. Swain. I don't know how to answer that.
I don't know.
I don't know what the question is.
We were basically doing a story time because Cole asked me a question.
I don't understand.
I don't understand
the question.
And I'm just, I'm just not going to pay attention to it because
there you go.
So at any rate, the whole point of this podcast was to let you guys know I don't know how much content is going to be going on this week. We've got, like I said, I've got a contrast MRI again on Wednesday, and after that, they're going to determine whether I'm allowed to eat.
So what is it? Smoothies and mushy rice from now on?
I don't know. I mean, I was given a list of what I can.
Applesauce.
Yeah, applesauce, bananas, rice that is way overcooked. But yeah, that's so. I just want to let everybody know because a lot of people were commenting on the post that I put up, and I just kind of wanted to let everybody know what's going on. So it's I just like I said, I have a really bad infection in my lower abdomen, in my gut. So we're gonna play it by ear. I have, like I said, I have a video about that mini Tempest.
Oh, BD Swain cleared it up. He said, "Is this? Are you? It's a podcast. Are You Garbage is the name of a podcast."
Oh,
BD Swain was because we're talking about like our filthy past. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yes.
Well, you know
so
what?
yes, BD Swain. Yes, we are garbage. Both of us. We're Ohio boys. Guaranteed, we're both garbage.
What I need to do is like try to figure out a way to have you on my Twitch channel. So we're both on there. I don't know how that works.
Me and my wife did a round of that crazy Japanese board game, dude, and it's a blast.
Well, I know
Holy shit.
I know I can stream directly here to.
So you would have to invite me to like a Discord chat, and then.
No, I can stream this on Twitch. I have it.
Oh,
I just don't do it, and then I mean we could do it that way. Because, I mean, we could probably get away with saying and doing a lot of stuff on Twitch that I typically don't do or say here.
Yeah, Twitch doesn't care.
Twitch doesn't care. As long as we're not violating the what is
right.
it? So, hey, Beardo.
What is that? TOS.
Not terms of service. No, no, it's because I'm old, Pat. Because I used to be actually in really good shape, and it just got all saggy. Like... And that's what I got for you right there.
Peter Miller's Michigan upbringing is twitching. Uh-oh.
Peter Willis. It's not Miller.
No, Peter Miller, down below. Ohio boys.
Okay.
He says, "Them Ohio boys."
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Sorry.
Don't be upset because we've won the majority of.
Oh, and what's that? I'm sorry. Does Michigan even have an NFL team? The Lions, are they even real? Do they exist? When was the last time they won anything?
No,
Pretty sure the Bengals, my hometown team, are going to the Super Bowl. Pretty sure.
Who is?
Pretty sure.
Who is?
The Bengals.
Are you serious? Didn't they have? I mean, for a long time, the Bengals was that team that you rooted for if you didn't want to root for the other losers. Like,
yeah, no,
you just had two losing teams to. That's why I'm a Pittsburgh fan.
It's the Bengals and the Rams this year, dude. In the Super Bowl, you believe that? It's the first time since the 80s. I was born and raised in Cincinnati.
Bengals and the Rams, those are both like garbage teams typically.
I know. It's beautiful, isn't it? It's a thing of beauty. I'm pumped about it. I hate football. I'm a tennis guy. All I watch is tennis, right? And so Formula One.
Yoda Doug Tool Collecting Channel. That's a mouthful, bro. You got quite.
That is a mouthful. Yoda Doug's Tool Collecting.
That's Tri-State. That's Tri-State ADC.
The Super Trooper stash.
Yeah,
he's
right?
not wrong.
Well, I showed you. I had that one time where I hadn't trimmed this in a long time, and I lost a bet and had to shave the beard off and keep the mustache. I was like, Jesus Christ, look at that womb broom.
Dude, I mean, what was the clip I used in my 2021 review video was
Polly calling it a dick duster.
A dick duster.
Jesus, look at that dick duster.
Oh boy. My mom watches my videos. She saw that and she was like, "What does dick duster mean?" It hurts, I know. It hurt me too, Mike.
Here's the thing, I got out of the shower just after my wife came home from work, and she picked my kid. I dropped my kid off at ice skating. Probably shouldn't be driving, but I dropped my kid off at ice skating. I hadn't had any of the morphine for like 12 hours, more than 12 hours. And so like I drove the kid up and my wife came back and she got back and I was coming out of the shower. She's like, "Why is your stomach?" She's like, "You haven't eaten since Saturday night." She's like, "Why is your stomach?" I was like, it's all swollen. Like my whole stomach is fucking swollen.
Yeah, putting up a fight is what we call that.
Yeah.
The old guts throwing a hissy fit.
We're going to check out some knives.
How about that?
Right now.
How about two beautiful? Put yours up, Mike. I want to see yours.
I put it back in the box because it's not mine.
Oh, it's not. I thought it was yours.
No, you'll see in the video. I did something creative with. I don't even know where I put it somewhere.
It's gone.
Oh, there it
forever.
is. No, I just set it out of reach.
Where's my other one? The micro. I love the micro. It's such a
I don't
great
know why.
size.
What is this big thing that drink apple cider vinegar? It's just acetic acid. It's like drinking.
Something tells me vinegar would
Kool-Aid.
not agree with you that much right now. I don't know.
I got news for
Maybe
you.
that's just me.
I'm not allowed to eat. Yesterday, everything looked good. Like I wanted to eat it. Today, nothing even sounds appealing.
That just sounds sad. You make me sad.
But I'm like, why is my stomach so fucking swollen and distended? I have got no food in it. Yeah, this one's pretty nice. I like the pocket clip on it even.
I love the pocket clip that he does. It's perfect. They're all perfectly like swooped and sculpted.
Which one was the first one you showed? I can't remember the name of it.
So I have the full size Evo Typhoon and the micro, both with the clip point style blades.
I had a customer that had me modify an original Typhoon, and I did a red and black.
These are both Rayot made. Yeah.
I used to call it. Yeah, I had one of his in-house ones that came in for sharpening and ceramic coating, and I did a black and red ceramic, but it was done in a fashion where I like just barely tumbled, and so you got little cracks and stuff in the black, little sharp lines.
Yeah, that's
and
sweet.
then I did the red on top of it, and I called it my fire and brimstone. It came out great. I'll find it somewhere on Instagram and post it back up again. But yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I already have an overactive acid production in my stomach. I have to take antacids. I don't know if I want to add more acid to the mix when I already
it sounds
have.
counterintuitive.
It does. It does.
You never know. Sometimes the weirdest shit works, you know?
I've got all of Tino's knives. All of his. I just realized that my echo from your speaker is coming across and it's catching the voice modulator, and it sounds like an 8-foot tall gorilla is talking in your background.
That's you.
I was like, what is that? What is that? What is he watching? That whoever that dude is should be singing that song. Turn the lights down. You know what I'm saying? Like that country song. Close the door and turn the lights down low. That's all I'm hearing. I'm like, good God.
Maybe lock the doors and turn them lights down low. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, we're gonna probably do about an hour. What is this? Y'all go enter the 300 sub giveaway US made bare knuckle in 20 CV. Oh, his.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Shane. Everybody check out Shane Gable's PKR. Very nice.
Yeah, he changed his name back. It was really hard to find him.
And it's so easy to find him now.
Yeah. I just go by Yoda or Yoda Doug.
Belly?
Everyone says that about my. Say what?
Somebody, Q-Ball said the Tuya is a really cool knife. This is the only Tuya I have. I just finished the review today.
Tuya has a bunch of really nice knives.
The Big Belly's crazy. That integral, carbon fiber integral.
Oh, I gotta thank Shane. I gotta thank Shane for talking so kindly about me in the video. So,
thank you, Shane. You sweet man.
That morphine has kicked in. I'm like, that morphine has definitely kicked in. My face is all. Do you see how flush my face is all of a sudden? I'm like sweating. I'm like,
oh God, what day is it? Where am I?
I feel all warm.
I feel all warm and fuzzy, and not in a good way.
Have you ever had a contrast CT?
No.
They injected in that great big line that they had in my arm. They injected these two. There's a machine above. God damn. There's a machine above the CT tube, and it looks like that thing that they used to kill patients or kill death row inmates. It's two great big. It's two great big.
Yeah, the big vials. Yeah. And
it pushes it down this tube, and it goes in your arm. He goes, "Okay, that's going to make you feel warm," and I could feel it go in my arm, and I was like, I'd had the contrast in my neck before for a CT or not a CT, an MRI of my brain, and they only use a little bit. And he goes, "Oh, we use significantly more." He's like, "It's going to make you feel really warm and feel like you had to pee." I'm like, "Okay, like
Cool, thanks, Doc.
Like it went in like within a split second of watching that machine start pumping that stuff in. I was like, I want to take off all my clothes. Why do I feel like
why am I so hot? Get it off. Get it off.
Like, why am I so hot on the inside? I'm like, I'm about to burst into flames. I thought they had given me some sort of like mutagen, and I was going to turn into a human
My
flame.
thing is like, how many corpses did they pump that shit into before they're like, that's the mixture, you know?
Who was it? Let's see. Who said, let's see those pupils?
The pinholes, you mean? You mean the pinholes? Yeah, those are pinholes, dude. Oh, hi.
I left.
Oh, hi.
I kicked myself out of live stream. Yeah, we're going to have to end this. I'm really starting. I'm starting to get really dopey.
I'm just here for emotional support.
It's something different. They were telling me it's some other chemical now. They don't use the iodine solution. It's something else because you taste like a metallic taste in your mouth. Because I thought it was iodine. I should look it up. I don't know. It might still be some form of iodine, but like the guy that did the thing told me, he's like, it's not iodine. It's something else. I forget what he told me. It's a clear liquid that they put. It's two different clear liquids that they pump in through one thing, and that had that big line in my arm.
Isn't that bizarre that somebody figured that out? It blows my mind. Somebody figured that shit out. Oh, these liquids, they work when you put them under the big scanner machine.
Yeah.
Only these ones, though. We get this real beautiful contrast. It's lovely.
These ones killed like 12 people.
And the other ones, this other batch, throw those in the garbage. That'll kill everybody.
Like, there's a dude that's got an arm growing out of the back of his neck right now, so we don't need those.
Right.
Those are the wrong
it kills
ones.
me. Like everything we use, I always think like, what was the human, like the life cost, the cost in human bodies to figure that shit out? Paper towels. How many people died to figure out paper fucking towels? It's like somebody did. I promise.
I always think like it amazes me like when you really look. Yeah, my stomach feels way better now that morphine's kicking. I took it just.
Oh, I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does.
I took it just a little bit. So like, hang on a second. I'm gonna check something. We're gonna look something up. Oh, I'm gonna look up. I could have used my phone for this.
It's all right. Soylent Green. Maybe. You never know.
When was toilet paper first sold? 1857.
Isn't that crazy?
1857 was the first time they sold toilet paper. You know, that was the first time they sold it, and that would have made it a luxury item because, you know, not everyone could afford it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, because in 1850, whenever, not everybody had a toilet to throw it in. They just had a hole in the ground.
So I do know that my grandfather remembered using corn cobs and the Sears Roebuck catalog. And matter of fact, the first house that he owned, my grandfather owned before he married my grandmother and moved into the family house there on the farm. The first house he ever owned was a Sears and Roebuck catalog house.
Yeah.
He owned a piece of property on his parents.
The floor plans, you could buy the floor plans, baby.
Picked the floor plan, and he Jesus Christ, he bought it and they mailed it to him. Fuck, I'm like halfway through
the
a
floor
sentence.
plans. The floor plans.
I'm halfway through a sentence. I'm like, oh look, over here, something shiny.
Floor
Like,
plans.
the dog.
And
I saw the
Sears
dog.
Roebucks.
Well, I was turning and I look over this way because the dog's laying on the floor. The dog's laying on the floor. I see her tail wag, and I'm like, what is that? What were we talking about?
Dog. Wow. So anyway, he had the plot of land, called up Sears, and they came and built his ass a house.
It. Like, it wasn't call up. They didn't have a fucking phone.
Yeah, send in the slip in the mail.
Yeah, they sent in the slip with the money, and all the stuff showed up on a truck, and they were like, there you go, there's your house, have fun. And I remember him talking about like he didn't realize that he was going to have to build the stone foundation for the house to sit on.
Yeah, you got to have a foundation first.
It didn't have a basement. It had basically a trap door, and he would use the under the house for storage. And he just got big limestone blocks from the fields and got them nice and flat. He didn't even use cinder blocks. Just got them all flat, level.
This is
built the house
Ohio. This is Ohio, correct?
Yeah,
Okay,
outdoors.
I was about to say that sounds like classic Ohio architecture to me.
Okay, are you ready for this? My grandfather grew up in an area down towards Janaden Hutton, which if you ever have seen that spelled, it looks like Gnaden Hooten.
Gnadnuden.
But right before there was is a town called Loch 13.
Okay.
And that's where he was born and lived for a lot of years before they moved to Orange, which was closer to. That's where he grew up until he met my grandmother. Loch 13 grew up around the lock on the Ohio Canal, the Erie Canal.
Yep.
And that was literally lock number 13.
Yep. Lot of so we have a vacation house out way east of the city on the Ohio River. I told you about this a couple lives ago. And there are towns that are just this is Shiloh Lock. That's where you are. And it's because
I've been to Shiloh
Lock. That's the name of the lock. That's the name of the lock. That's where you're at.
I was talking with a dude that was in one of my chats, in one of my premieres or a live feed, I don't remember which, and he was from Marietta, which is where my dad and I, because he was talking about like he was down southeast on the Ohio River and kind of knew some of the areas. I was like,
yeah.
Are you down in Marietta or South Point? Because those are kind of the places we put in the river, and then we would go to St. Mary's, Virginia or West Virginia. And he was like, I'm from Marietta. He's like, you absolutely picked it out of the lineup.
Yep. Yeah.
So
I'm far west. I'm as far west as you can go without being in Indiana, you know?
Yeah, but you see, the whole thing is you're still south, which that's once you get below Columbus,
yeah, we're all the same. We're all the same.
If you draw a line straight across, like starting at Columbus, east and west, and you draw a line, everything south of there, this is what you get.
Yep. You're looking at it. Either this
total weirdness
or that, you know, whatever.
Total fucking weirdness.
But beautiful weirdness, let's be honest. Menards, hell yeah, dude. I'm a big Menards fan myself.
What was this? There are some Montgomery Ward special edition buck 110s with a hunting scene on the bike. I do remember seeing some of those. Have you ever been to Sugar Creek, Ohio?
No, never heard of it.
I'm gonna. This will be the last thing before I decide that I can't function any longer. Because
I'll let you know. I'll let you know when it's time to shut it off. If you forget, I'll let you know.
Yeah, we're gonna. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna pull up something. There is some really cool stuff that they do in Sugar Creek, Ohio, because it's up in Amish country.
Oh, they do amazing stuff. The Amish. The old Amish. Great people. Adams County.
I'm trying to do Sugar Creek, Ohio, animated.
Anime? Hentai? What are we talking about here, Mike? What's going on?
Well, in Sugar Creek, Ohio, they have a lot of stores that have these animated. They're mechanical. They're like a mechanical thing on the facade of the store. So you have the store front, and then up above it you have like the fascia board, and then there's some animated stuff that goes on in there. And I'm trying to find some images of it. First time, here we go. Let's see. It's on Pinterest. I'm gonna try and pull it up.
Patina, you saw me drop this
don't
knife. Yeah, it stuck a hole through my office chair. Whoops. My nice leather IKEA chair.
So I'm going to share this, and this will just be kind of the
almost went through my leg.
Cheese store in Sugar Creek, Ohio. Yes, the cheese store. Pearl Valley Cheese would be the name of the cheese store in Sugar Creek, Ohio.
Oh, I'm getting in the car right now. I'll see you guys there. I'll meet you there.
It's a long drive. So I'm trying to share this screen here. I just got to remember it's the Pinterest. So they have these storefronts, and what you have here is you can't really see it.
Yes.
But these move. They move around, and there's stuff that goes on, and like this one here.
It's like it's like, you remember those cards that you would get where the scene would change as you shift it side to side? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but these are mechanical. These are mechanical, and they actually move. Like there's machinery behind it that moves them, and they're like some of them are like a train that shows up and then disappears and stuff like that. And it's just it was one of those things like the Sugar Creek Motors. Sugar Creek Motors, when you go there, had like a bunch of horse and buggies in the front that would go by, and there'd be other stuff that would come by the other direction, and then there'd be like tractors and stuff in the background, like plowing fields and shit.
Insane.
I was like,
It's insane. And you, dude, amazing what they pull off with the limitations they live within. You know what I mean?
well, no, it's because it's none of those areas are actually Amish.
Oh,
Or
I know,
Amish,
but
as
still, like
people
that
from other
Amish,
parts
them
would
damn
say.
Amish. But they still like living within the confines of whatever time period you're in, making the best out of it. Like making the craziest advertisement you can
Yeah.
with like turn of the century technology is mind blowing to me.
Well,
It's
and
mind-blowing.
that's what it was. They were all historical. Like every one of these buildings had like a historical placard in front of it talking about the storefront and all that. And a lot of times they weren't the original, like the one that was Sugar Creek Motors. That wasn't originally what that store was. They moved into that and had to keep
But
the
they
storefront
kept,
because
yes, because it was a historical property. Yep.
yeah,
Wow.
and like they don't even like those stores aren't even. I think the Ohio's Historical Society, the same folks that run Roscoe Village, it's almost like Colonial Williamsburg, where it's all everybody dresses
Yep.
in time or period appropriate. There's a blacksmith shop, and I was a blacksmith apprentice there for a summer. That was a miserable fucking job. But like
Just
they have a
sweating
canal boat
over
ride.
over the
Oh,
over
they
the
have
forest.
canal boat rides and stuff there, and that is all part of the Ohio Historical Society. There's a big museum, great museum there, and they basically they are the ones that go in and they do the maintenance on all of those. That way, they're not burdening because like the store owners are like, well, we just want to have a store here. We didn't really sign up to maintain a 180-year-old moving storefront that was originally run.
I mean, can you imagine the cost to like the upkeep cost on something like that? Like I can't like who do you call? You know what I mean? Who do you call? Oh, my crazy 120-year-old sign's busted. Please help.
Hey, this 80-year-old electric motor that you replaced the old original water-powered one with slipped a belt. What am I supposed to do?
Oh, well, let me just go skin a few beavers for you real quick.
Right? Yeah. Well, first of all, you've got to get a piece of leather and you got to make a leather belt, but you've got to use beaver fat. You're like, get the fuck out of here with that.
Can we take a moment to appreciate Patina's comment? Imagine taking your kids to go watch Mike blacksmithing. Earmuffs, son. Earmuffs. God damn it, son of a bitch!
So basically, what would happen was they would have nails that they would sell as like souvenirs, and like the actual blacksmith would make one and give it to one of the kids. Like he's like, I'm gonna put somebody pick a number.
Eeny, miny, mo, right?
Yeah, he'd pick one, but then they sold a bunch of them. It just like at the end, he'd sell them for like 50 cents. He only made like one nail for every tour that came by that somebody that had a wristband. So he'd make one for every group, just one. All the ones that got sold, you know who made them fucking ugly ass square nails?
You.
He's like, all right, well, no more going on.
You just
like,
mass produce these fuckers.
Shovel some coal, and like he'd like sit and start drinking whiskey, and he was drunk all the time. And he's like, hey, just tell me when the next group shows up, and you just start making some nails. Just keep doing it till the next group shows up. So we got a bunch.
He goes, I put my time in, Mike. God damn it, you little shit. I put my time in. You make the nails.
I'm not gonna lie. I almost failed metal shop, and it wasn't because I couldn't make things. Because you guys have seen that I can make knives. I almost failed metal shop because I didn't want to make the bullshit little fucking toolbox. I was too busy. I was too busy using the what do you call it, the welder that pinches. I can't think of what it's called because I'm
little arc welder. I know what you're talking about.
Not an arc welder. It was a little contact welder.
Yeah, where it's
like
literally two pieces of metal. You put it in between. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember what the fuck it's called.
I was taking utility knife blades and making razor blade shurikens out of them in the contact welding thing. What the hell is that welder called? I can't think of it.
I don't know, man. I literally can see it. We have one at the machine shop. I can't.
Yeah, it's two copper rods, and they just touch.
Yep.
Spot welder. Thank you, Doug, beautiful. The tool guy. I mean, that makes sense. Doug's tool collecting channel would know what that tool was called.
He would know. fucker.
Pot welder. No.
He said spot.
I
Pot
have
welder. Hey.
No. G Metal was like pot welder, and I was like, no, that's me.
Wrong again.
So, but yeah, I had friends that were like, wait, you make knives? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, didn't you almost fail shop class, like metal shop? And I was like, yeah. It's because I
at
just
least
didn't
you
want to
had metal shop, dude. All we had was woodworking in high school.
Well,
It was really sad.
so if you took shop all 4 years, your first unit, so shop one was metal shop for 1 semester, and then the next semester was drafting.
Ooh.
And then you did wood shop 1, 2, and 3. I took wood shop I took shop all 4 years. I also took. Did you have vocational agriculture as one of your courses in school?
So we had a full-blown vocational school that you could opt into starting
So did
junior
we.
year. A whole separate school, the Warren County Career Center. You could do anything. You could do anything there. Whatever you wanted. It was basically a community college, but you could start junior year of high school.
We had the same thing, but we also had VOAG, which had its own building at the high school. And you went out there and Mr. McNeil would teach you like, okay, this is how you change the oil on an old 1942
Tractor,
Ford Select-O-Matic tractor with the tricycle type with the bug eyes. I'm sorry, 1947. And I'm like, this is convenient because this is exactly the tractor we have on the farm. He goes,
seriously.
Who do you think we borrowed it from? Because it needed an oil change. I'm like, great.
It's yours. Ding, ding, ding.
Like, your grandfather brought it in this morning because it needed an oil change. And I was like, well, bring it in. And because my grandfather had been the maintenance man for the high school while he also drove the milk truck for Pearl Valley Cheese and ran the farm. Because, fuck having one job. Fuck having 2 jobs. I'm going to have 3. So my grandfather was like, hey, my grandfather apparently called. He's like, hey, you guys still teach them boys how to do a tire change and an oil change on old style tractors? He goes, well, we haven't for a while. He's like, well, I have an old tractor and it needs an oil change. He goes, well, I guess we'll teach them.
Bring it in.
He says, well, today, boys, we're gonna learn. Like I said, he was like, we're gonna learn how to change the oil on an old, fairly rare bug-eyed tricycle type 1947 Ford.
Mike's in the back of the class, like, wait a minute.
I'm like,
wait a minute.
I hadn't seen a tractor yet because we were in the classroom area. We hadn't went out into the shop. He was just giving us an idea what we were going to do. And he was like, this is what we're going to do. You got it was double period. Like you had a lab. Yeah, you had lab in that class 2 days a week or 3 days. I can't remember. And so it was a lab day. And he was like, and I was like, we got one of those on the farm. And he looked at me and goes, where do you think it came from? And I was like, I walk out. There's my tractor on the farm.
It's a small county, son. It's a small county. There aren't that many.
There aren't. That's a fairly rare tractor, the tricycle type. That thing was so dangerous to drive because it had the big wide back.
Had the 2 front wheels
and had the 2 front wheels that were like basically touching. And we lived in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. And you're like fighting it. I'm like, this thing's going over. This thing is going over.
Yep. So Dad had an old Ford, 30s maybe, 30s, 20s, 30s, old Ford. Oh boy, dude, that thing, it was not original at all. They would just kept throwing shit onto it to make it work. So by the time Dad had it, I mean, you had to like stomp on the thing, the little like nub on the floor underneath the stool, and it would start to turn over. It was fitted with an electric start after God knows, 50 years.
Well, it was convenient that I was there to start the tractor because Mr. McNeil had not been given the brief that tractor, the starter switch was stuck. And so the ignition was stuck. So the only way to start it was when you would get in the garage, you'd turn the fuel on and you would take the heating blanket off the engine so that you could then put the terminals the right way and it would just start itself. Like there was no turn.
Yeah, there's no button. There's no switch. You just switch the wires around real quick.
Yeah, we had a prime bulb. Thank you. You had to use the prime bulb to get the diesel in, and then you had to let it warm up. And we had we had it didn't have glow plugs really. So we may have had them at one point, but they didn't work anymore. So in the winter, my grandfather just had like an electric engine heater to keep it kept the tractor engine warm in the fuel lines, and he would just disconnect that.
At an ambient temperature, yeah.
It was a glorified heating pad.
Literally a blanket.
Yeah, so Mr. McNeil couldn't figure out how to start the tractor. I was like, let me help you out.
I got you. Step aside.
And then he got up there and he was thumping the fuel gauge, and I was like, that thing's been on E since before I was born.
It'll never move.
That fuel gauge was on empty when we sold that tractor 5 years ago. And my grandfather said, yeah, fuel gauge broke 5 years after I got the tractor. He's like, I just got a broomstick. He's like, I just would. That's enough for what we're doing today.
With like a Sharpie line on it. Yeah, full. That's good. We're good. Yeah.
No, it didn't even have a Sharpie line on it. He just put it in and he'd lift it up.
Eyeball it. Let me eyeball it.
He'd just see how much of the stick was wet, and he just knew. He's like, we're only going up to the Pine Grove. We'll be okay.
It's hilarious.
So can't do
how
that.
How you feeling there, Mike?
I feel like I probably should go to bed.
Same. Should we call it? We're at 1 hour and 10.
Yeah, I think I want to call it. Guys, like I said, I just want to let you guys know what's going on. I think my daughter's right. I don't think I need to be trying to get the green screen and shit up this week. I got some serious Forrest Whitaker eye going down.
It's beautiful. You got the one just kind of floating around.
This one's kind of like fucking sagging. So yeah, I just want to let you guys know. I appreciate everything. You guys have been great. Like, I put up something on Instagram. I tried to put something up on YouTube that night when I was in the emergency room, but I didn't have enough signal and it just didn't work. So I just want to let everybody know.
Zooted. Heavily zooted.
Well, like I said, well, not just that. I was running a fairly high. I think it was 102.6.
Good fever will do you in, dude. I can't even see straight. When I'm over 100, I'm just like, I'm gonna lay down.
Well, and that's what I'm taking. I'm taking sulfasalazine. That's the anti-inflammatory for my gut. It's a big orange nasty thing.
Horse pill.
So I'm taking 3 types of antibiotics. I'm taking sulfasalazine and morphine. Plus, I'm taking ibuprofen just for general body aches.
Pain management. Yeah.
I got news for you. If you've got body aches and you don't need ibuprofen if you're taking morphine. Nothing.
You know what? I think you're right about that.
My shoulder. This is the first time my shoulder hasn't hurt in like 3 years.
It feels great. Put me in, coach.
It fucking works and everything. I'm like, it probably shouldn't work, but.
All right, brother. Always a blast.
Yeah.
I hope you get to feeling better. If you need, if you want to do another hour and a half on Wednesday, let me know. I'll be around.
I don't know. It depends. Like I said, I had to drive my daughter. I had to drive my daughter an hour. I had to drive an hour round trip to drop my daughter off, and that about did me in. Like I was hurting because the thing is, if I sit for too long, it starts to hurt. And then I'm like, oh, I got to stand up, and that hurts. To stay changing position hurts.
Yep. Yeah, the altitude change. The altitude change will do you.
I was up. My wife said I don't really remember it because, like I said, I was pretty sleepy with the
patina. Classic Ohio goodbyes.
That's true. But yeah, she was like, you were up, like you moved around a lot, and you were up like 5 or 6 times last night, like out of bed. And I was like, I really don't remember it. I was probably asleep.
You were just cruising in your sleeps.
Yeah,
all right, everybody.
About to happen.
Always really awesome to see you, man. Patina, thanks for calling us out on our Ohio shit. Thanks.
It's true. And guess what? There's probably a good chance me and Cole are going to talk for about another 5-10 minutes when we close this.
I mean, we just can't. All right. Okay. I'll see you. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Oh, bye. Okay. All right.
Guys, I'm going to end this. I love you all. Thanks for checking in on me. And like I said, keep it. Just be patient with the content. I'll try and get this video edited. I just don't feel like
he ain't going anywhere. He's just zooted up for a minute. It's all there.
So LFG. Long fucking goodbyes.
I was thinking lesbian fruit girls.
Lesbian fruit bowl? Oh, no.
In the stream now. Quick. It's a perfect time. In the stream. Lesbian fruit girls.